Andre is despair. Tandy's hopes are back, but what about our boy Tyrone? What is going on here? Well, it's time to shed some light and darkness on the Cloak and Dagger After Show on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin. Woo.
Yes! Gets me pumped. Our new intro, I love it so much. What's up, everyone? It's Thursday, so that means Cloak and Dagger. I'm your host, Ollie Drennan. I'm joined by a fabulous panel of badass women. I have Karla Beltran.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And Miss Steph Sabraw.
What's up, everyone? I'm so excited about this episode. Drew Jones isn't here tonight. She will be sorely missed, but she will be back, don't you worry. And we do have some of her thoughts on the episode because we can't go without them.
Yes, I was hoping. I was like, she didn't send them to me, so I'm like, how am I supposed to? But Steph will definitely be the one to fill us in. And don't worry, like we said, she'll be back. She did not give the soul stone up, or she did not give her soul up to get the soul stone. Okay, we're good. So we have so much to talk about. This was such an amazing episode. We got to talk about Tandy, Tyrone, Adina, and Andre, or AKA Despair. So episode 7, season 2, Vikingtown Sound. Initial thoughts, y'all, because this episode was arguably one of my favorites. I think it really encapsulated what Cloak and Dagger is.
Yeah.
It encapsulated both dark tones and very light tones. It really gave me hope as a viewer, and you felt that hope through the characters by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of this episode was really that I was feeling all the emotions that I needed to. I think the writing was so good for this episode because when the writing is good, the audience feels it. And I felt it the whole way through. There were certain points where I was like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Like I would got up from my seat because I wasn't really sure what I was looking at. And I really, really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I completely agree. This episode made me feel every single emotion. And the fact that it encapsulated not only ideas of race and privilege, but sex trafficking and what it means to be a woman in today's age and being a black woman in today's age. It's nuts, and friendship and hope and despair and all of these things. It's crazy to see so well done in just an hour-long show.
Right.
Yeah.
It felt like a full-length feature film. It gave me such Endgame vibes because I was cheering by the end of the episode. I teared up literally at one point, which we'll talk about. But let's get into our first topic, which is Andre, our big bad, our villain of this season, because it's kind of confirmed now that he is despair, okay?
Yeah.
And he mentions that he's given so much pain and he wants to share it. That's kind of like his job. And I love the kind of comparison between that and America that he mentioned, because that is true. It's like people who feel pain want to share it, and it's like this disease. It's a virus. So what were your thoughts on Andre in this episode?
Okay, first of all, I like the fact that we found out for sure that he is despair, but also I thought it was really interesting, kind of like the dynamic that he had with the whole voodoo, and he kind of was like, oh, this is the next person that I need to go to, and he kind of left Tyrone. I think it was really crazy to just kind of see him know who she was from the minute that he saw the tape.
Oh, Auntie. I love Auntie.
Oh, man, I love
She was
her.
so awesome, kind of standing up to Despair or Andre, whatever you want to call
we're
him.
going to get into her fully, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So I don't gas her up more because I'll save those comments. Despair, I hate you. Oh my gosh. It's kind of like Misery Loves Company is what he is. It's because you have really bad migraines, you're going to literally force people into slavery and manipulate them into thinking that you're providing them things that they can't have on their own. It's truly despicable. It is truly a realistic idea of what actually happens in those kind of people, but to play them into a comic book character is wild.
Yeah.
And obviously he encounters, first he encounters Tyrone too, and how he kind of tries to attempt to manipulate Tyrone, and then obviously Bridget kind of comes in for the save, and all these characters. But you wanted to talk about Auntie, right, Steph?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so please, do you care to take it away?
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're so excited.
As soon as she walked in, as soon as he knocked on her door, I was like, she's 5 steps ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
Always. She has been. And she has the quote that I wrote down. Let me see if I can pull it up is basically when she said something along the lines of when he was questioning why she has sight and why she can see these things, and she says everyone does. I'm self-aware enough to really see it. And so her ability to really navigate life and see people for who they are and not give up too much information, really get to know people and play his game with him was really cool to see. And I did not think she was going to be the person to meet the match of him, but it feels like she is going to be the one who fully takes him down. We don't know though.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I don't know either, because what was up with seeing her on the ground and Andre stopping the record? That I thought she died. I don't know if I'm not confirming it. You didn't hear it here first, but I took it as that she was either defeated or she died because he did that to her, because he felt kind of threatened by her. I don't know. What did you think, Karla? Or am I wrong?
Okay, so I actually thought that he was the tape was for Evita, which I'm so much happier to know that it's not my girl Evita, because that really got me scared. But like I said, I was telling you, like, during while we were outside watching it, like, she can't really die. So, and she says this is another step for her to grow. And I think wherever she was taken or whatever happened is going to, like, I think we're going to see her either in maybe at a different dimension, or she's going to come back and it's going to be something different. I think she's going to come back stronger. And I think it was really awesome to kind of like have her play his game, kind of like we were saying. It was really cool to kind of have her come in. And she's already sitting there. Like, he just walked inside the dark dimension, but she was already in there, you know? And it was like, she kind of used that, like you said, she's already 5 steps ahead. So she already knew what was going to happen. Yeah, exactly. She already knew that she was going to happen. And she knew that mayhem was there. So,
that was cool.
Yeah, and you guys, can we just take a second
and
realize
I was about to give
that
it to you.
I called it last week or maybe the week before that Mayhem was still in here in the dark zone, that she was going to come out and save people, and here we are. Maybe I'm not a writer, but the dark zone, dark dimension. I was asking you.
You were fully right though.
Yeah.
And I was, as soon as I saw Mayhem's head creep through, I was like, Karla.
But yeah, honestly, I think that Auntie is going to be okay. At least I'm hoping for that. Or maybe Evita's going to come through. Right. She's going to do something, because if Evita was there, I don't know. I think. Yeah.
I'm certainly worried because she was on the floor. She was on the floor. I really hope that she is okay, but maybe her purpose, when she said that thing about this is just another step for me, maybe that was her, she realized her purpose was to kind of sacrifice herself. I really don't know, but I'm hoping Auntie's okay. But speaking of Evita, you brought up Evita. I'm so interested in that quick little dialogue by when Andre played the record about Evita having the veil. And maybe that veil is her protection. And we haven't seen Evita in a while, so and I'm waiting to see where Evita comes into play in this season, if she does. Where does Mina come in? So what are your thoughts on Mina? Or not Mina. What are your thoughts on Mina? But what are your thoughts on Evita in that whole little... It was very interesting.
So I actually have been thinking about this for a while, and I think like they actually haven't included her as much in this season as we would have liked to. But I really have a feeling that they have a bigger purpose for her than what we really think. And I think that they've just kind of been keeping her saved for us, but soon we're gonna find out something about Evita that's gonna throw us back, and we're gonna be like, oh my gosh, like this is why Evita has to be with Tyrone.
Definitely.
And part of my news and gossip that will come later, I do have a piece of information about Evita, and hopefully we will get to see more of her.
Yeah.
So, but I agree. I have to rewatch this episode. I rewatched last week's episode, like I said I would, because there was a lot of pieces that I felt like I would still find, and I did. And then this episode, that's the one piece I need to re-listen to. I wish I had subtitles for that scene, because I think I missed some lines. All I know is that I heard the veil part, baby, and sound of a baby, and so
and a heartbeat.
I took it as that was Auntie talking to her sister, who I think her sister must have passed away.
Yeah.
And then that's why Auntie took care of, I was about to say Noelle, took care of Evita. Any more thoughts before we move on?
No.
Because I have a very special thing to say. Guys, we really love you. We appreciate you. And you make us the ESPN of TV Talk. So please give us that 5-star on iTunes. If you do, you might be in the running to win our very special signed comic book this season. And yeah, special guests might be able to sign that if they come in. And we just really appreciate you guys interacting with us. We have a live chat, don't we,
Yes.
Steph? Shout out the live chat,
Michael
anyone?
Cullen, Aaron Robinson, Chris Moe, Ivan Soto, Trey Nixon, Nicholas Kelly, Toshnique Moore, Man Milk.
We love you, Man Milk.
Interesting name. Ivan Soto, G1X Rider 13. All you guys in the chat, thank you guys so much for writing with us. We love your commentary.
And if you're not tuning in live, that's totally fine. Slide in those DMs. Give us those comments.
Slide in Drew's DMs and Ollie's.
Yes.
Drew and Ollie's DMs are open.
We really appreciate it. But also stay tuned for our news and gossip, our special segment. And of course, you got to find out the further details of winning that special prize this season. But we got to talk about this episode because there's so much to unpack.
Yep.
Oh, anything from the live chat? Anything?
I think she gets possessed by either Marie Laveau or Calypso.
Was that from Nicholas Kelly?
How did you know?
Because Nicholas Kelly is MVP. I love you, Nicholas Kelly. I think you tweeted me that a couple weeks ago about how that's going to possibly... This is predictions. We'll save it. We'll save it. Oh, my gosh. All right, but we got to talk about... Honestly, I think this character is kind of MVP in this episode. Adina, Tyrone's mom, who's portrayed by Gloria Rubin. She killed it this week with Connors and their whole exchange because something didn't sit well with me last episode. I knew something was wrong with Ty's mom, Adina, when and we saw in this episode, she is clearly not okay with Connors. And it makes so much sense because she has not felt any closure from the death of her son for years. So I knew being in the same room with Connors wasn't going to sit well with her. Not at all. And I knew that she just needed time to figure it out. So what were your thoughts on the whole process with her and her arc this episode?
I think that her process was really interesting. There is this Bible verse that says that you should be slow to speak and something like just be slow to speak and not react so fastly.
Right.
And it was kind of one of those things where most of the time when you're angry, you react in a way that you probably wouldn't if you were to calm down and think about what happened and then just kind of go for it. And this was kind of a perfect example where she has this man in front of her that killed her son, and also her other son is in hiding because of him.
Right.
Again, so both of her kids are in danger, or one of them has passed because of this man. And instead of her acting out of her rage, she kind of takes a second, she's being graceful, and she's giving him the opportunity to speak, which is huge. I think it goes to say a lot about her without her even having to say anything. And the whole fact that she's like, you know what, I'm just gonna cook because this is the way that I try and process things. And it's most people have a way to process things. Either you try and create stuff in Photoshop, you create music, and you do something, but if you do that while you're letting your anger out, it's probably much better. And her whole reaction, even towards the end when she just kind of started losing it and she was like, I just want to be able to bury my son. That was one of those parts where the writing was so good because we were able to feel what she was feeling at the same time. And towards the end, I was kind of okay, which route are you going to take? Are you going to take the good route, or are you going to take the other route? You know, because I don't know if there is a good or bad. I'll let you be the judge of that. But for me, I was super intrigued to see what she was going to do next. So I'm kind of really bummed that we didn't get to see that. But
oh my gosh.
I'm super excited to see what she's going to do with the dinner, after dinner, or
them
what's
crab
going to
cakes.
happen.
Them crab cakes.
This scene made me cry so much. I thought it was so insanely portrayed, and it was one of the scenes that was so packed in the social constructions that we live in and what it means to be Black in America. And when she was talking about, she said, I'm stuck in a system I can't dismantle even with a gun. And I straighten my hair, and all these commentaries that Black women particularly have to live through every single day. And especially when they have Black sons that are in the streets, they don't know what's going to happen every time they leave the house. And even with a gun, man's most powerful tool, so to speak, she's powerless. And that's the system that we live in. And that's her reality. And it's heartbreaking because even if she killed him, even if she did anything, it doesn't bring back her son and it doesn't give her power. It doesn't change the system. And speaking on Drew's point, this is where she said, how Adina stays calm the entire time with Connors because Black women aren't allowed the space to show emotion and without being labeled irrational, and how powerful that was in that scene, because I oftentimes hear from my Black female friends, like, if they show any bit of emotion, they're deemed angry.
They're demonized.
Yeah, they're fully demonized, and you could see it in her face, and it was just a really powerful scene. And Connors was really powerful too.
Yeah.
Because you can see, we found out a little bit more of his past, and we're like, oh, like, we didn't know if we believed him at first, but now you can see, I don't know either, because he tried to grab the knife.
Exactly.
It's hard.
I was just about to say that. So this episode did, just the writing and the direction that it was put in, it really kind of played you a little bit, because I was thinking, is Adina going to kill him? Can I still trust Connors after seeing that scene of him trying to get the knife? I don't know which way this is going to go. Is
Auntie dead? Did Evita survive? Like,
it's so brilliant.
Does Evita have the veil?
Oh, and I just think what stood out to me, what really did it for me, was Adina's speech to him. Obviously, as we talked about, I remember specifically the words she said, even that even you being tied up, I'm still stuck. And that was just so freaking poignant. It was so beautiful. And I'm glad that this Marvel show is really speaking for Black women and other women of color and just how they feel so oppressed. And it's just so beautiful, and it makes me feel really emotional. I'm just, oh my gosh. It really was a beautiful episode, and I can't get, it sucks that we're like almost done with the season.
I know.
I want more.
I know. I'm like, what the heck?
It's not fair. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I just, it doesn't sit well with me about Connors grabbing the knife. I don't know. You know. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think it sits well with me either, but I could kind of understand him in a way, like, he's stuck, he might be killed. I don't think you don't want to be killed by, like, willingly. You know, you're not going to willingly walk in and be like, if you kill me.
That's true. If
you
he
know?
Thinks she's
I think that, and I don't know, I think he means, like, I think he wants to do well, but a part of him is like, well, I don't want to go down either. So,
okay.
Like, I think he's still looking out for himself.
All right. We'll see. We'll see next episode. Well, any other thoughts about Adina in that scene before we move on? Because we got to talk about our heroes. Tyrone. Because Tyrone, I think in this episode, he started to feel a little bit guilty about, or just a little suspect about Tandy's whereabouts and how they kind of ended in like a falling out about how, but also I was like, Tyrone, don't feel bad because Tandy tried to play you. But anyways, he really gets it together. He confronts so many people, but by the end of the episode, he is a little exhausted. I'm a little fearful for what exactly that meant of seeing the exhaustion, but it was still so cool to see the reuniting of those two characters. So what did you think about Tyrone in this episode? Because there's a lot.
Yeah, there's so much. The scene with him in despair was crazy to me. Another scene that was so packed in like a 3-minute monologue where despair is saying basically like, I didn't know that you existed in Tandy's life, and you can't live in a world with Tandy. She's privileged white girl living in a world where she takes what she wants and doesn't feel bad about taking people's hope, and you don't live on the same playing field. And a lot of the things he was saying was true. A lot of the commentary that we had on Tandy, like she's privileged, she doesn't understand, she keeps saying these things that she really doesn't get what it's like to be in that person's position, but at the end of the day, she's a very good person. She really wants to do what's right. She just has this pep in her step without thinking.
Right.
And I think, and we'll get into her character arc, by the end of it, though, they need each other. And Tyrone figured that out, too, with the help of Auntie. And they really need each other to even each other out, which is how their characters are in the comic.
I'm really curious to know what happens at the end with him. I actually think, and I have this feeling that Andre unlocks the door with his bebe on it, and I think that's kind of why he kind of gets sucked into the dark dimension.
how there was kind of like this portal or just this,
because he has never been in the dark dimension is what he says, you know, like and we didn't even know that he could personally go into the dark dimension because it's basically himself.
Tyrone.
So I was kind of like, I'm really intrigued to see where they're gonna take that, and him being inside his own stuff.
Because going back to Auntie, she said something along the lines of the Vivek not necessarily always meaning a key, but also a lock, and that it should it should stay locked. So maybe it should have been. Well, we'll see in episode 8, definitely.
And it is real that I don't know what to think of that part too, where she was saying, if you become you look what you've done now with the powers you have. What would you do as a god when you're not even just playing god?
Because this is like a tutorial,
So,
and you're not showing mercy at all.
So it's interesting his connection with Tyrone, where they are both black men, and it's true, like they're not on the same playing field. But just because your life has been screwed over by society doesn't mean you get to enslave people in sexual servitude. Like that is nuts to me that you can really think that that's okay.
It's like you're enacting in a different way what the regular society is already doing to you as a black male. You know, you're just doing it, which is awful, in sex trafficking, you know?
And then also what Drew was saying, 2 black women too, and a lot of minority women are affected by this. So it's just, he's totally
he thinks he already thinks he's God.
And evil.
You know?
He's already acting like it.
I just want to know more. I want to see his backstory and further his origin.
I just want to know how he got where he's at.
But I just so love the symbolism with the record store and how we see Bridget just Mayhem, sorry. She just goes mayhem. She destroys all of the freaking records to help Ty and him not doubt himself, because Andre was definitely playing with Ty in this episode and trying to manipulate him like he was doing to Tandy. Speaking of Tandy, our girl, poor thing, I definitely felt for her because clearly she lost her powers because she has no hopes. And we meet Dell, who is kind of in the same boat. She is in the system. She's been in the system for a while, and she has no hopes. She thinks her family's dead. No one wants her. She feels alone, and that this system is the only system. She thinks that this is her life now. And Leah has instilled it in her. That Leah. No. But what were your thoughts?
Leah less and less.
What were your thoughts?
I hate Leah more and more.
What were your thoughts? Because I just loved how Tandy came into the system and ended up giving Dell hope. And then by Dell getting hope, that ultimately gave Tandy hope. So what were your thoughts on this beautiful arc that these two characters went through this episode?
Do we have to talk about them together, or can we talk about Tandy separately?
Anything.
I'll bring it together. You go first.
It was ultimately very cohesive and beautiful.
Yeah. I kind of like the dynamic that they had together, but really I kind of wanted to focus on Tandy and just kind of show how much of a badass she is, really, because like in this episode, like towards the end, first of all, when Leah was dressing her, there was a rage going inside of me that I was like, don't touch her, like, no, don't change her, don't do this. Like, there was just like all these feelings that were going through, that it was like Tandy was so, not only was she hopeless, but she was also helpless. And I think that's the lowest we've ever seen Tandy. And it was like this new side that you were like, I actually felt for her. And I hadn't felt for Tandy in a long time. And it was really nice for me to be able to have like feelings towards her and be like, oh my gosh, like I want to go in there and try and help you whichever way I can. And I think that was one of those things that like spoke out to me more in like her character for this episode. But it was really nice how they tied it in together with Dell and just kind of her being the one that stands up for it. And then because she has hope, that's why Tandy got her hope back. But it's like, I kind of like how they played it together.
Right.
Yeah. This is the thing about Tandy, what we've been talking about. She has this privilege, and privilege doesn't mean that you screw up everyone's life, which she kind of screwed up a lot of
Season 1?
Yeah. But if you use privilege properly with the understanding of what every group is going through, and you're not using it in a way to act like you know what's good, like the whole white savior complex, then it could be the most powerful thing. We can't move mountains and cure racism and all these things without privileged people
Right.
stepping up. And this was Tandy's character arc for me, stepping up, acknowledging that her life has been more privileged and she's cared to really think of. And then this moment with seeing a woman who has been completely manipulated into thinking this is all she has, this is all she's worth, and them giving her food and shelter is good enough, and that's a life to live. I mean, it's truly disgusting, and it truly does happen exactly like this, which it's kudos to you guys in the writer's room to really accurately portray that, because they're not always beating you up and doing all these things. They're drugging you, which they showed, and they're manipulating you mentally to thinking of no one to go home to. So the collision of these two meeting together and working with each other without really knowing they were working with each other and coming to this understanding was so like girl power to the max.
Yeah.
I definitely think Tandy took a page out of Bridget's book of being an ally, as you talked about, because that was kind of, it was so symbolic of seeing, you know, Tandy obviously being white, but helping in this situation. And even though she was helpless because she was paralyzed, she still helped and gave Dell that hope to stand up to Leah. And that, with the music in the background, this is the scene that really made me ugly cry, no lie, because just seeing Dell, who in her, just do a 180. It was so beautiful. And then finally seeing Tandy about to be assaulted, you know, raped, but have her dagger come back to her because she got that hope after hearing what
Just
Dell
in time.
It was so amazing. And this was my endgame
cool.
tease.
So
And I just live for also kind of seeing this metaphor of breaking down this unjust system. Literally, she's breaking down walls.
Yeah.
With her daggers. And when she met up with Tyrone, oh my god.
Oh, that's when I wanted to cry. When they actually met together, I was like, oh,
it was so awesome. Is there anything?
They were only gone from they were only separated for like one episode, which I think
It
was
gave
last
me
week's
hope.
episode. But
Yes.
I
It
was
gave me so much hope.
You guys, Nicholas Kelly pointed out in the chat that her powers developed, and we see it kind of like they're using their powers differently, and same with Tyrone. And the difference of their scenes where she uses her daggers to like break through the wall, like you said, and then Tyrone, one of the coolest scenes where he used his power to like flip around and drop kick that big man. I was like, dang, this is so cool. And they're just totally meant to be together.
Yes.
In whatever sense that they need to be together, I'm for. If it's friends, if it's more, I'm for it. But I am Evita all the way.
Oh yeah.
I can't forget her, but this moment made me be like, you guys are perfect together.
The
like,
ship war.
Oh, they
God.
they are perfect together, but we don't know really what Evita has. I think Evita is capable of other things.
And,
we're not
Tandy
aware.
supports her, so
Yeah.
and she's obviously the most level-headed out of all of them. Come
Yeah.
on. But also Drew Jones is in the chat, our queen.
Hi!
So yeah, that scene coming together was another one where I was like, what's happening? Is this gonna actually happen to her? Like, I didn't know how far they were gonna take it.
Yeah.
But it couldn't have gone any further. I would have been like, this is Tandy. She has daggers. She's not gonna let this slide.
Yeah.
Oh, the infiltration though. That was whew. Well, we'll talk about the special segment. Soon. But
Drew said that they did all their own stunts.
That's
By the
amazing.
way.
That's
Awesome.
amazing.
See, this is why she's C&D MVP, I wrote in the chat.
Is there any more comments from Jew or anyone else in the chat before we move on? We got to give love to them. We can't sleep on them.
G1X Rider, are Tyrone's powers messed up because of despair? I don't
Possibly.
know. Possibly. Robert M. Mayhem learned to help without killing. Yeah. She was
Oh my gosh,
awesome.
that's true.
And someone else earlier in the chat said this proves that Mayhem's not evil because she still wants to help people.
Absolutely.
I thought that's
She's-
what we kind of figured out.
we did,
2
but
episodes
Yeah,
ago.
with the whole alignment chart.
Yeah.
I think she's definitely like chaotic good.
Yeah.
For sure. She just goes.
I just wanted to come back. I miss her green eyes. Like,
Me too.
really.
Oh,
Ivan Soto, I know you're a Runaways fan. You're on our
yes.
AfterBuzz TV panel. Said this episode proves that Runaways can't fit with the Cloak and Dagger world. Runaways is too light for the show.
No. I disagree. Ivan, I love you, but
Maybe they could come on Runaways.
either way, I'll be so happy to get my crossover. It needs to happen. But before we get to, because that's more predictions.
Yeah.
How about we get to our special segment?
Yes,
I love
you
it.
guys.
Thank you, Bree.
It is time to do our cloaked and daggered moments. So you go ahead and tell us your highlight and your low light of today's episode. We will start with Ollie.
Oh, me? I don't want to steal yours again, Karla.
No, I'm gonna let you guys go.
We'll start with low. I'm still afraid of Auntie, and I think Tyrone's fine, so that wasn't my low of the episode. But Auntie, I'm devastated to seeing her on the ground. I don't know if that. I think that's a really bad thing. I think she's in jeopardy for sure. So I think that's my low. That's my cloaked moment for this episode, and for my highlight, my cloaked. Let's see. I would say, what did I write down here? Del giving Tandy hope and vice versa. I think that scene was so beautiful, and her reuniting with Tyrone, and Tyrone working his ass off to get to Tandy and be reunited, and seeing them just break down that corrupt establishment. That was my high for sure.
I love that. How about you, Steph?
Okay, so I think my low light moment was Leah, and just her storyline is so disgusting and relevant to society. It happens all the time. And when she looks at Del and says, "Be the mama bird," and has her drug Tandy, and take over that role, because that's what they do. They convince the women that if you don't follow the rules, you get in trouble, and the more you follow the rules, the more higher you get. And even her convincing her that all the girls had died who Tandy freed.
Right.
And then my highlight was them just getting back together. Tandy and Tyrone. There's just nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was like, it feels like an eternity where you guys have been separated and kind of butting heads, but they needed, I think, an extreme thing to happen to grow up because they can't be kids anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
And that episode, last episode, which was so heartbreaking, it's now that episode's totally just because of this uplifting episode for sure. So I'm totally fine with the heartbreak from last week, but because of what happened this week.
Okay, my low light was kind of finding out that Andre has his own Veve, because it kind of comes to show that Andre, it might be a little bit harder to defeat him, which it's just kind of like, ugh, that sucks. And then my highlight, you guys, was definitely seeing that Mayhem was in the Dark Diamond.
Oh my God, yeah.
I was like, she's
Wait, quick thing. Drew just said, damn, R.I.P. Auntie. Is she...
I think she is.
Wait, okay, that would be my low light, obviously, but
Yeah.
I'm not willing
Drew,
to admit
she's not.
that.
She's
Drew,
not.
I
She
agree
can't
with
be.
you. I don't want her to be, but I took it as
But
her
Drew's
death.
always right.
Exactly. Thank you, Drew. Thank you for having my back.
Not Auntie.
I'm telling you.
Let's all keep our hope. And let's all keep our daggers together and bring them to the center of the table for
God,
Auntie.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Karla.
Yes.
We really appreciate that, but we also appreciate our news and gossip presented by Steph Sabraw.
What's up, you guys? An exciting episode, so I want to focus kind of what's been going on with Twitter, with the cast and the writers. Emma Lahana, Mayhem, and Bridget O'Reilly.
And Queen.
Tweeted, tonight's episode of Cloak and Dagger was directed and written by our fearless leader, Joe Pekaski.
Okay.
Yes, he's that damn talented. We all felt honored to be there for his debut, and now I'll just hope we get to be led by him again. Thank you for always creating a safe space for us. How cool is that?
I love that.
Not only is he the showrunner, but he directed this
Right.
episode, one of arguably the best episodes
And
in
he
the series.
wrote it.
Yeah.
I give full
Yes.
writing credit
That's
to that.
the second, even more crazy that he wrote that. That means he fully had to have sat down with people of each community that this is affected by and really get the story, because it felt really true to their storylines,
Right.
which is incredible. And Joe Pekaski tweeted, if we couldn't give the audience more Miss Noelle Renee, who plays Evita in this episode, we were at least going to tell Evita's origin story.
Yes.
So obviously,
I like
there was a
this.
lot portrayed that I need to look back at.
Right.
But I think moving forward, we're going to get more Evita and more kind of definitive answers of
Right.
what that meant.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for that. Thank you so much, Steph. Was
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah.
Oh, such a good news segment. I love it. And shout out to Joe. Killed it. And I know he specifically wanted to direct this because he really wanted to handle it with care and respect, obviously. And we know that they have such a diverse writing room. So this show is just amazing. It's such a great production.
And
But-
one more thing.
Oh, yes,
Sorry.
please.
Cloak and Dagger writers tweeted this, which I really appreciate. not so fun fact, there is no profile for victims of trafficking. Victims come from all sexes, races, ethnicities, and social standings. You don't have to be a superhero to do something. Get involved today. And they added at Polaris_project. So go to Cloak and Dagger Writers, follow them, and follow this group. And there's many ways you can get involved if you just look it up. There's different organizations and shelters and houses for victims all around most areas. So you can find that.
Yeah.
Love it, definitely. And I just love how proactive this show is trying to get people involved. Get involved. It makes me want to get involved. It's so important because it's happening everywhere and it's happening to anyone.
I have to say that this show has definitely opened up my eyes to a lot of different things. Like even the conversations that we have here and listening to you guys and your opinions and just your experiences, it kind of makes me feel like, oh wow, like the life that I've been living really isn't like to its fullest, because you need to, like, in order to live fully, you need to learn and know more. And it was like, it's been really like eye-opening to just kind of see everything.
The show's amazing. We got 3 episodes left. Well, we got to get ready for predictions. But before predictions, I do want to let you know, if you want to win this amazing signed comic book, Ali Maki stopped by this season and she signed it. And our special guest might be stopping by too to sign even more signatures. So all you got to do is just give us that 5-star review on iTunes. If you don't have access to Apple, give us that 5-star review in the comments. And also, if you want to double your chances of winning this signed special Cloak and Dagger comic book, just tweet or go on Instagram and shout out to Aubrey, Joe, Olivia, anyone in the cast that you want to see on AfterBuzz TV. Let them know that you really want them to stop by on AfterBuzz and just screenshot that to us, send it to us so we know that you actually did it, and that will double your chances if you do the review as well. So really appreciate you guys giving all your love and support, because we want to make this the best Cloak and Dagger After Show podcast out there because we love it so freaking much.
And Drew made a good point. She's like, let's make sure that you guys watching tweet at the cast and Joe Pekaski to get on our after show. We love them. We've seen them at Comic-Con last year. We got to interview them. You can see that on our AfterBuzz Red Carpets page, some of our interviews with the cast and in studio. So we want to have them all.
Yes.
We do.
We gotta have them all. Like
we
Pokemon.
want you. We want them to. Oh my God. Yes, absolutely. She said it best herself. So we're running short on time, but we want to get to those rapid fire predictions, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Karla, go.
Karla.
Okay, my prediction is that Auntie is not dead.
Oh. I hope. I really hope
Yeah,
that.
she's not dead.
What about you, Steph?
My prediction is that Despair is going to be a part of next. I feel like he's going to be an overarching theme of the entire season. I don't think he's going away just
till
yet.
the end. Yeah.
I did see the promo. I think from what I'm getting from the promo, because they give us very, very subtle like tidbits in the promos, I think Olivia, oh my gosh, these actors. I think Tandy and Bridget are going to go into the Dark Dimension to help save Tyrone. And I'm predicting we're gonna get that crossover with Runaways some way.
Oh my gosh!
Because we already saw some Catherine Wilder and Adina. Just saying.
You guys, I just saw this, and I hope that that's not true. Ivan Soto, it says in the chat that the showrunner confirmed that Auntie is dead.
Well, there you go.
I don't want to believe it.
It's been confirmed.
I think I want to watch next week's episode and actually like have you fully confirmed.
I freaking knew it. Well, unfortunately, I don't mean to end the after show on such a bad note. But until then,
I will avenge her.
My amazing panel. Where can we find you on social media?
I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw, where I will start a petition to get Auntie back in some capacity.
You guys, you can follow me on Instagram at I am Karla Beltran.
And I'm your host, Ollie Drennan. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer. Don't forget to tweet the cast and crew to come into AfterBuzz. We really appreciate it. We love you guys.
Ciao.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.